entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Ridley Scott's Gladiator II.
That's right.
Came
Gladiator
out. Don't mess this up.
Yeah, just don't ruin it.
What about the flight crew?
South Korean smugglers. They run flights into Pyongyang below radar the whole way. Did you think of an alibi?
Oh, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Alibi Podcast.
It's episode 18,
Yes,
and
it
we
is.
just watched a revolutionary new film.
A phenomenal movie.
If we dare to call it such.
I mean, I'm ready to give it a crown.
Ridley Scott's Gladiator II.
That's right.
Came
Gladiator
out
2.
this week, and we went and saw it the night before opening night in theaters.
I was pleased. I was very much pleased. I'm a big fan of the Gladiator movie. The first one,
Classic.
big fan. I love
Classic
it.
film.
Everything's pretty great. Well, not everything. There's a few like weird, this was definitely made quite a while ago things that kind of happen in it. But I loved the movie. I loved the story. Loved the acting. Performance from Russell Crowe was phenomenal.
Joaquin
Performance
Phoenix,
from Joaquin
yes.
Phoenix was phenomenal. There's just a lot to love about the first Gladiator movie, and I was pleased to find that the second one held up. It was just as good, in my opinion. I thought the performances were all phenomenal. Denzel is always good. Denzel's always good. There's kind of a split between who's the main character. We don't have anybody trying to carry the weight to stand up next to Russell Crowe in the first one, which I think kind of is a positive in a way. I thought everyone... There was no one that I thought, this is a bad actor, or like, this is a bad performance. You know? I thought the story was good, story held up, script was good. It made sense, kind of fitting into the world that the first movie created and continuing the story without, feeling forced. It was not too much of a stretch for me. It felt like it had good nods to the first one and played off of the first one and kind of followed the same basic gladiator story or gladiator blueprint without feeling exactly like a ripoff in the exact same story recycled like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
But I was pleased overall. I don't know. I liked it.
I've said this before, but I think that Ridley Scott shines the most in two aspects of his films.
Yep.
Combat sequences.
Yes, sir.
And scale.
Massive scale.
The scale of just shots. And those two things were, for Ridley Scott's last film, with Joaquin Phoenix, Napoleon, the only good things about the movie. Like, the plot was awful, the script was awful, even Joaquin Phoenix couldn't save it, right? In this movie, he's able to shine even more in combat and scale. And also, he had kind of one job plot-wise, which was, don't mess this up.
Yeah, just don't ruin it.
And I think he succeeded.
Absolutely.
I think it was not a bad movie. It was a good movie. And it was... he was able to focus on combat, scale, and the cinematography of it, and they just didn't mess with the status quo too much in the script.
Absolutely.
Which I read a couple of years ago when they were talking about making a Gladiator sequel, before they had started filming. This was probably 2019.
Yeah.
They were talking about like Russell Crowe's character comes back to life.
Yeah, no.
Travels through time. Maybe the Roman gods are real, and now we embrace that storyline. Like, there was some sci-fi ideas. Like, they talked about everything that could have happened, and any of those would have been really bad.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good.
This messes with just a very grounded plot.
Yeah.
Very believable.
Absolutely.
Or at least within acceptable suspension of belief.
Right.
And also, all of the things that were the low points, if you want to call them that, of the first one, we're talking about the scale and quality of shots of the entirety of Rome. Or even some of the detail shots of the battle sequences in the first one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking particularly of the opening scene in the first one when they have to go to like a blurred slow-mo.
Right.
for some things that, in this new one, because of the technology advances that have been made since 2000, they're able to really embrace and just dive into the depth of that, which I really appreciated, really enjoyed.
And I think one of the rules of a sequel is you have to up the stakes, up the ante when it comes to a lot of things like scale. The fights were bigger. The battle scenes were massive. The armors, there were more armors.
Gladiator 1, the first one, opened with what was to date to the date of it coming out, the single best on-screen portrayal of ancient Roman warfare.
Like the Saving Private Ryan beach battle scene, but for Roman warfare.
Right. The most accurate depiction, right? And most grandiose.
Right.
Most just super well made.
Yeah, for sure.
And Gladiator 2, it feels like it takes the record from Gladiator 1. Like, now we have Gladiator 2
battle,
is the most impressive, most grandiose, historically accurate, mostly, depiction of ancient Roman battle.
I thought it did really good in that regard. It definitely larger scale, bigger battles, better shots, higher quality when it comes to cinematography. It didn't have as many like weird slow-mo or sped up shots. It didn't have as many like weird transition filler shots. It didn't have kind of the weird 2000s-y drama stuff in it that kind of almost detracted from the first Gladiator movie, watching it as an objective viewer 20 years later.
Right.
And
overall, huge props to Ridley Scott.
Yep, and the whole crew.
And to the whole
cast.
Actors. My personal, this person deserves to be recognized, Denzel Washington, with just a standout performance.
He's always just so good. I think it wasn't even just him. He absolutely sold it, but his character was also really well
written.
I liked his character.
Yes.
Obviously, there's some people complaining about the accent. I don't know why everybody is. I mean, he didn't sound too terribly
within
out of place.
reasonable suspension of belief.
Again, you don't it's not like they're actually speaking in Latin. Like,
I know.
what
Did
do
you
want
to watch a movie just
what
in
do you
Latin?
Want? I mean, the Roman.
Who's the director that does that?
The one who did I don't know what we're talking about. Like the Passion of the Christ being.
That's one. Mel Gibson did the Passion of the Christ in Latin. I was thinking of Kevin Costner when he directed Dances with Wolves.
Oh yeah.
All of the he had them speaking. All characters speaking the language they would be speaking in real life.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. But
it's cool, but also it's a little bit I would have preferred to just hear it in English. In that movie, it's great, but as a general rule,
And the thing about the Roman Empire is there's just such a wide reach to it. Like, people from all parts of the known world at the time, the accents were different. And Denzel, obviously, he wasn't... based on the fact that he was of a darker skin pigment, I don't think he was supposed to be from the same part of Rome as, for example, the emperors or something, So I think we can suspend our belief there and not be so caught up in, Denzel is New York accent, whatever. People just want to hate on Gladiator 2. And I think that it's impossible to make a sequel that holds up, especially to an all-time film like Gladiator. And they did it.
Yeah,
So
I would make the audacious claim that Gladiator 2 may become as revered as Gladiator 1. People won't say
be hard, but
Gladiator, they'll say the Gladiator franchise.
Yeah, the Gladiator movies. As long as they don't beat the dead horse, I don't think there's much room for another one.
Yeah, if they keep going, they could mess it up. It's
could be wrong.
Ridley Scott's pretty old though, so maybe he'll if he spends another 20 years waiting, he might not.
Yeah, he might not see that happen. And hopefully they don't fall off, but they did not fall off with this one. And anyone who says differently is a hater.
It's a worthy sequel. Worthy sequel.
Did we have? Did we come up with a number? Did you
come up with a number
to say? Well, I kind of had a number right off the bat.
I'm willing to give it a 9 out of 10.
I was thinking 8 or 9.
I'm willing to give it a 9 out of 10.
I think we can do that.
I'm gonna have to watch it again before I'm like, this is a 9 out of 10.
You gotta watch it
at least one repeat watch. But I think I'm gonna throw out the numbers 9 out of 10.
We got to pull out the movie rubric.
We have a full. Oh yeah.
I have a standard. I have some standards for a movie, and it is not a good movie. Like, personal taste, an entertainment value aside, I think it is not a good movie if it's not for these 3 things. Number 1, is the actors' performances. The actors who have to do well. You got to sell your performance. You got to make me believe it. You got to be an engaging actor. Everyone did phenomenal in Gladiator II. All good actors with good performances.
I think that, and I'm not sure if this is really helpful, but the lowest performance of the film was Pedro Pascal. And
he did great.
A great performance.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal was great.
Yes. No, it was great. I just think if we had to rank them.
Baseline.
Yeah.
I might say the Emperors.
I don't know, man. They really sold it. I don't want to give away spoilers. This is a no spoiler review, but.
Well, anyway. Number 2, the script, the writing, all of that has to make sense. The storyline, the story has to make sense. Can't have any glaringly obvious plot holes. The script has to be, within your suspension of disbelief, right? You have to be able to accept everything that's happening, and it can't be super clunky or boring or long-winded or skip parts or too fast. Nothing like that. Number 3, the cinematography. Camera work, the angles, the shots, the lighting, the pacing, the props, the special effects, all of these things, if they're just bad, then I can't just ignore that. A good movie with bad special effects is hard to accept, in my opinion. So those are the 3, and Gladiator II absolutely worked on all 3, hit all 3 points.
Yep, it passed.
So
it passes.
Automatically, it's a 7 out of 10 movie, And I'll give myself 3 points for how much I liked it. And, for me personally, the movies I like, I want personal entertainment value has to be in there. Did I enjoy it? Was it funny? Were there moments in there? Did it try too hard to be funny? Stuff like that, which isn't an objective standard. And then me personally, I like kind of a philosophy to it, or maybe it's
a little bit of depth.
Grown-up version of a moral to the story.
Yep.
And I don't want it to be something stupid shoved in my face, but I wouldn't mind, a little bit of underlying philosophy.
Yep.
Which was huge in Gladiator 1, and again, Gladiator 2, maybe not quite as iconic in that area, but still was really good in my opinion. In that specific
round of applause for Gladiator 2.
Good job, Ridley Scott. We love you.
All right, so the same night that we went to Gladiator 2, I made good on a promise from a number of episodes ago.
Yes.
I took not only Jonathan, but also all of our younger siblings and my wife to a ramen.
We went and got
ramen restaurant. My personal favorite ramen restaurant in Kansas City.
Name drop.
Aoyama Ramen.
Aoyama Ramen. Shout out to Aoyama.
And then John did not get ramen.
I didn't get ramen.
So there's that.
I was very full, in my defense. I'm not a huge, I want ramen so bad kind of guy.
Nonetheless, he loved the experience.
I did like it.
Thought it was great. Also, it's worth noting that everyone else who was there
loved it.
Everybody also, I said all of my younger siblings. We didn't take all of our younger siblings.
We missed Tim.
Timothy,
the youngest brother.
Our youngest brother was not able to come. But we'll have to take him to the ramen place sometime. He would like it too.
I do want to go to the ramen place and get some ramen.
You got to try the ramen.
I do want to try the ramen. I had some pot stickers and some mochi because I was not hungry.
We all tried the mochi. I had never had their mochi before this time.
Oh, phenomenal. I've never had mochi before, but this was so good.
I've had mochi before, but never mochi that was really good.
S-tier dessert. I could eat mochi all day. If at least good mochi. That specific mochi.
It was fire.
It was possibly instantly one of my favorites, if not my favorite dessert. Mind-blowing. Loved it.
Yeah.
It was so good. So hats off to Aoyama Ramen.
5 star. 5 stars.
Absolutely.
Loved it.
10 out of 10. Good experience. Speaking of food.
Yes, sir.
It is the season for a particular holiday that many associate with food.
Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgiving season.
It's Thanksgiving week.
It is. Yes. It's 3 days from now. But I would like to complain. Not about Thanksgiving, but about the disregard for Thanksgiving. The disrespect to Thanksgiving that we have as a society is just unacceptable. It's not cool. People gloss over it. It's just October, spooky season, instantly, as soon as Halloween's over, Christmas! Yeah, I love Christmas, just as much as everybody else. But it starts the day after Thanksgiving. There is a Thanksgiving season. You're ignoring the fall vibes.
I want to
love
argue.
Fall.
I want to argue with you.
No, I'm not done. Fall is my favorite season Thanksgiving is the seasonal holiday for fall. You know, people want to bring up Halloween or whatever, and I'm not a big Halloween guy anyway, but like that's spooky stuff. Fall is like happy fall. Thanksgiving is the happy fall, giving thanks, being, you know, good vibes and positive. That's the vibe of fall that I want. You know, this is like color graded light fall. You know, this is yellows and oranges fall. You know, and everybody just disregards it.
Consider myself a victim of the thought process you are explaining right now.
Oh my goodness, no, you're not.
I always wait to listen to Christmas music until after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I always wait to start my Christmas shopping until after Thanksgiving.
Sure.
I always wait to say Merry Christmas until after Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
To decorate until after
of course.
Thanksgiving. I think perhaps that was the wrong decision.
No.
I would like to...
What do you regret?
Well, mostly being behind on shopping.
Well, you can shop for Christmas. Christmas shopping is an all year round.
Christmas shopping is so lame if you can't do it with Christmas music and your little hat and jacket and socks and stuff. Come on.
No, Christmas shopping, you might have to prepare for Christmas before Thanksgiving.
All right, hear me out here. What if instead of thinking of Thanksgiving and Christmas as separate holidays that need to be hard separated, you celebrate Thanksgiving and then you celebrate Christmas, what if we thought of them together?
No.
As a shared love of the holiday season. You can have the twinkly lights up for Thanksgiving.
No.
Your Thanksgiving evening is all the more better for putting on your Christmas records.
The vibes are different, and it's unacceptable to mix them because you taint the sacred holiness of the holiday. You know? Because they're completely different vibes. You got to get your Thanksgiving decorations. You got your oranges, and you got your browns, your leaves, your pilgrims, your little turkey stuff, your pumpkins, and your cornucopia, and
Celebrating
you got your
colonization.
gourds. It's not celebrating colonization.
All right, moving on. It's time for Gabe's Indie Artist of the Week.
Who's the indie artist of the week, Gabe?
Jettee.
Jettee? Are you sure you're pronouncing that right?
I have no idea how it's pronounced. They're so indie.
Tell us how to spell it.
I don't know. Jettee.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
It's weird.
Tell us about Jettee.
Jettee is a California surf rock outfit fronted by Jet Foreman, who is the son of...
Sounds familiar.
Tim Foreman, who you might know as the bassist for another of my favorite bands, Switchfoot.
That's right.
Jettee, has a super vibey alt-rock sound. They call it thrift store indie music.
I love that already.
I love it already, exactly. Yeah. If you're going to check them out, I'd recommend starting with the songs Dancing Alone and California, You Were Right.
That doesn't sound... I'm not sure California was right, bro, but okay. Whatever, you know.
Wonderful artist.
That sounds about right.
I love their music. I'm a big fan.
I'm okay with that. I'll have to check them out, maybe. I didn't actually listen to last week's Indie Artist of the Week.
Don't share that.
I don't have a lot of time to listen to music, just in general.
I now have a conspiracy theory to share with you.
I want to hear the conspiracy theory.
I first saw this conspiracy theory in a meme. It was being mocked. They said,
That's
this
crazy.
is what your crazy uncle sounds like on Thanksgiving when the family
probably
gets
the
together.
only sane one.
And I thought, wow, maybe there's something to this.
I want to hear it.
For those unfamiliar, the Rubiks Cube has been solved faster and faster every year since it came out, and it won't be long before they can solve it in negative time, enabling people to travel backwards in time using a Rubiks Cube. The maker of the Rubiks Cube, Mattel, intends to use that to travel back in time to when they manufactured them, and the ones that they've already sold, they'll take those from the past, bring them into the present, so they can sell them at 100% profit. The problem with this is it's great for capitalism, but that additional weight of all those Rubik's Cubes will shatter the Earth's mantle, causing the Yellowstone supervolcano to erupt, which is going to send the entire world into a volcanic winter that could last a century or more. So our solution is we're going to create the Rubiks Cube, which is a lightweight alternative to the Rubik's Cube that lighter weight might not shatter the Earth's mantle, and we can solve it faster. We can travel back in time before Mattel, get the Rubik's Cubes, go back to the Jurassic era, put them in space, and they'll replace the meteor that
The meteor that destroys the Earth. And he keeps talking for a while, but...
Interesting. I have one problem with this theory. Just one. Just one problem. The problem is, we go back into time, and then we take the Rubik's Cubes, right? Does that not mean that... Does affecting the past affect the future?
Depends on which movie franchise you're in.
We have to figure out if affecting... Because if we're in a Back to the Future storyline, then if we go and we take all the Rubik's Cubes, then... that like the future of Rubik's Cubes has changed forever. Like, you know, will it be a popular thing? Like, now we have all these Rubik's Cubes in the future, but nobody cares because it's just some toy that was stolen on a large scale, you know, 50 or 100 years ago or whatever, and you know, it's not as popular anymore. Or is it just like an Avengers storyline where you can just bring the Rubik's Cubes back and it's fine?
The one thing that would have made this better is if there was a TikTok shop link on the video for the lighter weight Rubik's Cube.
This is the Rubiks Cube, guys. That's crazy. That would be
Also,
wild.
I want to hone in on one word that he said.
Yeah.
If we create these lighter weight Rubik's Cubes, it might not shatter the Earth's core. You mean there's still a chance?
Still a shot? Even after all the time travel, we could be shattering the Earth's core.
With Rubik's Cubes?
That is quite a theory. Again, I don't know. There must have been some bulky Rubik's Cubes back in the day.
We're making a
I have a
big
Rubik's
difference.
Cube and it's very light, like very light. So I don't. Maybe they were being made out of like solid uranium or something at the time.
It's a wild thing to think about. Like, if we took any random object and completely doubled the number of them on Earth, would it make any significant difference? Like, we know with humans it would make a huge difference to like our food
Yeah, that would be
supply
crazy.
and the weight on the Earth's core and stuff. But like,
Well, that
Rubik's
opens-
Cubes are a couple ounces each.
That opens up a whole other conspiracy theory about the world and what would happen if we doubled the number of humans, because that happened in the past, what, 1,000 years? How long has it been since there was only 4,000 people on Earth?
Billion.
4 billion, not 1,000. That was the wrong word. Anyway, how long has it been since there were only 4 billion
don't
people
know.
on Earth? Because we know we've grown exponentially
Significantly, right.
faster in recent years, you know? And but is there enough resources? There's a question about like, could the resources on this Earth actually support humanity on a large scale at a high standard of living or not? Because there's a school of
also,
thought that
if
says
we
there,
were
it
to-
can't.
Well, yeah, there's that school of thought, but also imagine if we were to, because we're also getting older.
Yeah.
Like, the lifespan is
You got to
increasing.
support more people for longer.
So if we
at a higher
continue improving quality of life to the point that people don't die until they're in their 90s or 100,
Right.
people are, I mean, in theory, healthier. In North America, not really, but
Like the Brian Johnson guy is trying to live forever.
right, exactly
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
If in the next 100 years, the kind of technology that he's experimenting with
Yeah.
becomes actually
standard?
feasible.
And for
you'll
the
have,
record, for those who don't know, Brian Johnson was a like tech or pharmaceutical billionaire. I don't remember which, but he dedicated his life to trying to reverse aging and age as slowly as possible. And so he lives a life perfectly, strictly healthy for his body. He lives on supplements and like dialed into the perfect amount of everything meals. He does exactly
intense exercise,
calculated workouts. He does healing therapies and experimental procedures to try to reverse his aging. And the idea is that he's like,
It's
in
really
his
a lot,
40s
but it's
with like
working.
the body of a 20-something or 30-year-old.
he certainly looks a lot younger than he is.
I mean, he looks a little weird, but the thing is, he functions mostly like someone much younger than he is. And theoretically, he could continue to function forever.
Or so
Or so is his theory.
he says.
But it's just an interesting thought. Like, if this kind of stuff does become mainstream,
We could have 4 generations living concurrently. I mean, we probably already do have that in some
the
cases.
thing
We could
is-
have more.
Well,
Like, if
not
people are
only-
living that long.
Right. If people are living longer, then and there is more people. And again, if we can live longer and be, fertile longer, then we can create even more humans even faster. And then also on top of that, like the standard of living is so much higher than it's ever been. Like, is there enough for everyone
least
in the
in
world
some
to
parts of the world.
have air conditioning and sushi and a car, you know? Like there's
That part's probably not. It's probably not.
and it's just so like where's the standard? Where's the level? Like if we're going to have 10 billion people in the next 100, 200, 500,000 years, like where's are they
We
gonna
know
all
that
be able
there's
to have a
enough
house?
resources and space that in like, you know, if such a thing could exist, a perfect socialized one world
Socialized
government,
utopian society.
right? Everyone could have multiple acres, and they could farm it, and they could eat.
Theoretically, yeah.
Right. That's how much resources we have. Now, obviously, humans are extremely fallible. Like, no, that would never.
That doesn't allow you to have billionaires with mansions and infinite, you know?
Right, and it doesn't allow you
Luxury.
to like. It doesn't allow anyone to have like a Bugatti.
Right.
Right.
You can't
So
have
it's
it.
like there's not that much scale to it.
Right.
If everyone were to be happy with what they consider like a one world lifestyle.
Yeah. And you have to ask yourself, and this is kind of a question with socialism, like, would you rather nobody have luxury and everybody have the same level of, you know, standard of living? Or would you rather, you know, have more of a range, but the standard at the bottom is a little bit lower? But again, that's also theoretical because the higher the cap is, the higher the baseline is historically, like statistically. The more, you know, billionaires and fantastically, unbelievably rich people we have, the smaller the level of people who live below the poverty line is too.
Well,
So it's a fact of
yeah.
life that more money in the world and more billionaires is good for you. So just keep that in mind.
people don't want to hear that.
Them's fighting words, but I stand by 'em.
Also, it's a different statement to say that billionaires are good for you than it is to say that like the existence of billionaires is good for you. Like the fact that it can happen is good for all of us. Them being a billionaire doesn't necessarily affect you.
I mean, it does.
In our case,
Shout out to everyone who has an Apple phone or
right, or drives a Tesla, yes.
or, you know,
shops on Amazon.
shops on Amazon.
For all that
is going to
Christmas shopping
benefit
we were
from
just
the
talking about.
Department of Government Efficiency, you know.
Let's not get political.
Run by 2 billionaires.
Let's not get political.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I watched a show.
Did you know?
So our littlest brother Timothy
Yes.
was over here at
Yeah.
my apartment
Okay.
not that long ago. He was watching something on Max. So
Sure.
we were logged into like the little kids profile that they have.
Yeah.
So then I got on Max myself later
Yes.
to watch something, and I saw a show advertised to me because I was still on the kids profile and did not realize it, called Humans versus Hamsters.
Interesting.
And out of pure undying curiosity, I watched the pilot episode for what is an episodic series.
Yeah. Tell us about humans versus hamsters.
Basically, they create a hamster-sized obstacle course and a human-sized obstacle course.
Yeah.
And then they make a hamster and a human run it at the same time and see who gets through faster.
So this is like a live action thing? Like this is real, not like
Yes, it's real. It's
cartoon?
not a cartoon. This is a real thing.
Wow.
Real humans go compete against
So this is like a
hamsters.
scientific experiment.
I guess, and it's more of like a game show. I mean,
A combination of the two.
Yeah, and it's wild. I mean, because this could be an entertaining like one video, like
Yeah.
a one Mr.
Like a Mark
Beast
Rober video or something.
or a Mark Rober video or something like that. This could be one 15-minute. It is. The pilot episode is like 12. The pilot series or season is like 12 episodes at an hour long each.
That's crazy.
And they're just diving into like, who is this hamster? Who is this competitor? And like the corny script writing for the host and all
Cut
this
to the
stuff.
chase, though.
That's it. It was dumb.
We don't know if the humans or hamsters win.
The humans always win.
Oh, well, that makes sense. But we're out of time for today. So, thank you for joining us again for the Alibi Pod.